Welcome to Secrets of a Bridal Seamstress podcast, where we hear stories from fellow seamstresses just like you. We're able to share their success stories. We learn from wedding industry pros for the best business tips, and we get to hear from fellow sewists and crafters to hopefully inspire our creativity and our love for sewing. I'm so glad that you're here. And if you're a bridal seamstress, I'd also like to invite you to check out our Bridal Seamstress business membership. You can head to secretsofabridalseamstresspodcast.com and get on the wait list for our business community. It opens next on March 1st, and we would love to have you join us. We have a community of women that can testify to the power of genuine connection, friendship, vulnerability, the power of our 6-figure seamstress method, and a genuine connection found in a business mentorship like this. All right, let's dive into the episode. Hello, Happy New Year. Welcome back to some brand new episodes. We took a little break because, December was crazy and we just all needed a break. Okay. And we're back with some new topics to help you just dive into a new year as you're prepping for a new season. The next few episodes are just going to focus in on little changes that you can make to your business or little ideas to just help freshen things up a little bit. Okay. And today's episode is all about how to level up emotionally for 2025. So, woohoo. Hope you had a restful break. I know some of you are really like hardcore and you don't take a long break for the holidays. I definitely did because I was like, I need to be home and not leaving my house for a long time. So I had a nice like 16, 17-day break. It felt so good. I find that as I grow, I'm more of a homebody. So I would have been content to like not leave my house, but my husband's more social and he's like, "Hey, what is happening? Can we do something with somebody?" So, oh well, we hung out with some people as well, but I made this. This is a Sew House 7 pattern. I love it. I actually made two of these. I made this color and then I made a really pretty like evergreen, like a hunter green color. I made a coat, a beautiful lavender. I just need to like, I think I just need to post pictures. Originally, it was a Sew Over at London pattern. It was supposed to be the 1960s coat, but then I realized that I am allergic to wool. So the collar that was like up there, I could not handle it, sadly. So I had to like draft a new collar and the whole thing, but it turned out to be this really cute pea coat. So I think it's fine. Not really a pea coat. I don't know. You know what? It's just a Bozeman coat. That's just what I'll put it. But it turned out really cute. The lining was so fun. I've had the fabric like forever, so I'm like, you've just got to finish this thing. And that felt really good. I had a couple knitting projects. I'm starting a pair of socks. So that's also very exciting. I ordered some fabric. I got some new patterns for Christmas. So I'm gonna hopefully be working on some trousers sooner than later. But that's to me, this is what winter is for. It's like the fun stuff. I don't know. The brides are coming back in, but it's not like full force. So I'm still enjoying some like crafty time for myself and balancing things out. So it's like a nice, like slow ease into the new year. So hope you're doing well. I hope you're feeling really excited for a new season. That's half the battle is how you are approaching something new, right? So there's another episode that's coming out shortly about how to declutter. So maybe that's you. Like I gotta declutter some things. But before we get to that, let's talk about how to just emotionally level up. Just some little changes that you can make. Just nothing huge, but just a couple different habits that may change the way that you experience 2025. Even if you had maybe a great year with clients last year and you want to just keep that going, couple tips to help you with that. Or maybe you're like, you know what, last year just felt really dramatic and I need less drama. Maybe you've been hustling so much in your business to try to get it to the next level and now you're tired and like you need some balance. I don't know where you are in your business or where you are professionally or personally, but I know that at some point we always need to just kind of like take inventory of where we are and decide like, do we still want to keep doing things the way we've been doing it, or do we need to make some changes? So that's what this episode is about. Hopefully to just encourage you, give you permission to make some changes to just make 2025 an even healthier year for yourself. Okay. So, the number one tip I'd like for you to consider as you emotionally level up in 2025 is to put your blinders on. Okay. Just because of the nature of social media, the nature of I feel like running a business in 2025 is you have to be aware of people around you. You have to be aware of how people are doing things within the wedding industry as a whole, not just bridal seamstresses, but just being aware. And that is healthy. It's good to keep things current, especially if you're in some type of like business membership where you can learn from other women and there's like a vulnerable nature to the learning. And there's not that like one-upping, right? I think we've all kind of been in scenarios where it's like, okay, this is not really the business networking thing that I thought I signed up for. It feels like a one-upping game, right? So consider, what are your influences in your business on social media, or if you're in some kind of like networking group or whatever. And if you need to, put those blinders on. Maybe this can be the year where you just put your head down and focus on your own business. Probably, I don't know, like a year and a half ago, I really leaned into that. And that was really hard for me because I don't know, I consider myself pretty social. I feel like our niche is so small. So it's like you just want to connect with everybody and just be aware of everyone. And that's not necessarily the most healthy thing to do. And it's not the best way to grow your business always. We want to be aware of just what's happening in our industry and keeping up with the trends and things like that. But there is also something to be said for focusing on your own goals, your own clients, your own business, and not worrying about what's happening around you or what the person next to you is doing. Social media can be really dangerous for us to just keep thinking that we need to do more. Like, oh, they're offering this, I should offer this. Oh, they're trying this, I should try this. And it can be super distracting and just, yeah, distracting. It can be like a weight, right? There's nothing wrong with what they're doing or how they're communicating it. There's nothing wrong with you interacting with them on social media or whatever, like following them or I don't know, but keep your blinders on so that you don't feel like you need to make any changes because of what they're doing. And sometimes, if you just kind of put your head down, you're focusing on your own clients, your own growth, that's when the growth happens because you're not questioning yourself, right? You're not like, okay, am I doing this the right way? Like, they're doing it this way. Should I do it that way too? You just follow through with your own plan, your own ideas, and a lot of fruit can come from that, right? So, even within our membership, when we talk about different business strategies and systems, I really like to emphasize how individual we are as female business owners, right? Because we have different scenarios happening in life. We have like different family lives that we're working around or different personal goals that we're working towards. So even though there's something that might be working for me in my business, it's not necessarily going to work the same for her. And so if she's looking at the way I'm doing things, it might not help. It actually might be more of a burden or a distraction because there's more of that comparison going on. So whatever they're doing, it doesn't matter. If they're making money from it or if they're succeeding, that's awesome. Like, but we don't really need to care, right? So I really want to encourage you to put your blinders on. It might even mean just outside of like work life, right? There might be some situations, I don't know, in your personal life or maybe you're like your partner's colleagues, or I don't know. Sometimes all these things just affect us. And it can be really easy to get so distracted by those outside influences or outside stories or the drama of like so and so and so and so. And as difficult as it may be, put those blinders on. And I think you might be amazed at how quickly you'll be growing. I used to also feel distracted by like, what people would think of me. Like, well, if I do this, maybe they think that. Or maybe if I do this, but then they did that, what if this person thought this? Like, I just like overthought so much. And it almost made me feel like stuck in that. Like, I really didn't want to make this person think that I was like trying to like, whatever. Like, we get these like stories in our head and it just became so much. And then we end up just getting stuck in those thoughts and they like paralyze us. So I found that when I would just kind of I know I've talked about this before in previous episodes, but even with my like social media usage, I would like post something and then just get off of it. Like, not look at stories, not scroll because it's like there was nothing that I wanted to see that would like really help my business. For Secrets of Bridal Seamstress, I love to see what our members are doing. So like I definitely like follow our members and keep track on that. But like, there's nothing that someone else is doing that I'm like, oh, what are they doing that's going to affect me? It's like, no. And same thing with like our local businesses. Like, is knowing what your colleagues are doing, is that really going to affect like your bottom line or like your productivity? Probably not. So I don't want to say like, oh, don't follow them or like don't keep track of them, but like you really don't need to. You know what I'm saying? Like when I made that decision, maybe it was like a couple years ago now, of just like I said, making the post, then putting the app down, or just being really aware of like who I want to check out. Like I'd go to specific, I know I go back to like our members, but I'll go to like specific friends pages or feed and I'll want to like, oh, cute, they posted this. And then we were done. There wasn't this like endless scrolling. I wasn't scrolling through stories aimlessly. And that may be something that would help you too if you find that social media can like not be necessarily a positive, encouraging place for you. Just take the control back and put those blinders on. Use the platform as a business tool, and that's all that it needs to be, and that's okay, right? If you want to have influence for your business, find it in true friendships, find it in a supportive business community, but it doesn't need to be on something like social media that you like really don't have control over and can just change your mood or change your plans. Is this making sense? It makes sense in my head, so I hope it's making sense to you. But just put your blinders on where you need them to be on. And maybe 2025 can be the year where you just put your head down and you focus on your own clients. And I think too, when you pour into your own people, there's growth, right? So even a couple years ago, thinking of our membership, like instead of thinking of growing the membership, quote unquote growing, I just wanted to be so thankful for the members that we did have, the women that I was able to meet and work with and learn from. And when I started doing that, like the membership grew exponentially and just the relationships grew so much. And the wins became so much more apparent within our members because I wasn't focused on anything else. I was focused on them and I was getting so much fulfillment in where I was exactly with what I was doing, right? The same thing with my sewing business, Sweet Francis Sewing Co. It's like I am so fulfilled in my own shop, and I'm not looking at what other things I should, quote unquote, should be doing or should be offering, or maybe I should have a big team or whatever. There's so many different ways to compare ourselves to others, but when we can focus on what we currently have, what we can currently be so appreciative for, and just enjoy, there's going to be natural growth just as a result. We won't even be able to help it. It's going to grow. All right, so put those blinders on to emotionally level up. Number two, I really want to encourage you to live your life outside of business and love your life outside of business. And this also goes to like live and love your life outside of social media. I know we just spent a lot of time on that, so I don't want to like delve into that, but I know I've said this before that like you are just, or your business is just one facet of you. It is not your identity. When we put all of our value and our self-worth and our joy and our fulfillment in the business only, well, what if something goes wrong in the business? Then, or what if we have a bad day at work? Then it's like going to just take over our life, even if it's just for a weekend or for that week. It's like it's going to be all encompassing. So I want to encourage you to this year enjoy your life outside of work. So if you don't have friends, find some friends. Like get plugged in like your local church or community group, or find a hobby, heaven forbid, a hobby that's not sewing, but find another fun hobby. Maybe this is the year that you get involved like at a gym, or you take some classes somewhere like fitness classes. You start hiking, maybe you finally start, basket weaving. This is the year that you're going to start basket weaving. Remember those friendships that you used to have before you started your business? Yeah, maybe you can reach back out to those friends and reignite that friendship and reconnect. Spend more time with your family. Have a book goal of like how many books you want to read this year. I love reading, and I feel like that's like one of my favorite joys throughout the day is to like come back to bed and open my novel and be like, ooh, what's happening now? Like I look forward to that every night. And maybe you can just have like a list of books that you want to start reading. Okay. Think about growing your life beyond the business and really viewing yourself, viewing your business as just one little slice of the pie that is you. It's not completely you. And sometimes when I'm working with women who are so tired, they're overwhelmed, they're burnt out, a lot of times a part of that is because so much of themselves is their business. And they've run out of creativity and joy, and then they've gradually like started comparing themselves to others, again putting those blinders on, right? But when your whole life is your business, that that's normal, because it's like that's what's going to take up your headspace, is like comparing yourselves with other people because there's nothing else to think about, right? So, even just these next couple months, think about what you can do when you come home to enjoy your life after work, beyond like making dinner. Well, maybe cooking is your joy. I don't know. But like beyond like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna eat dinner, sit on the couch because I'm so tired. There's so much more than this business that you're working for. And also, when you kind of think farther down the line, when it's time to like retire this business or this work, what's going to happen then? You know what I mean? So really pay attention to the other facets of your life that isn't about making money or sewing or working with brides, right? And really tap into those other hobbies or relationships or just ways to enjoy your time, and remind yourself that there's something else to connect with inside of you besides like the business owner, like besides wearing that business owner hat. Okay. So get a life outside of work. That is, that's how you can emotionally level up in 2025. Find your people. This is the last tip. Okay. But it's such a big one, because our people influence us well, more than we realize, right? There's always these studies coming out about what is like the 6 or 7 people in your life who influence you, like influence your thought patterns. I should have like had statistics for this because that would have been a great thing to share. But it's like you have 7 people, a limit of 7 people that can truly influence your thought processes. So think about those 6 or 7 people who are influencing your thought patterns. Who do you talk to most? Who are you voice memoing maybe throughout the workday? Or whose podcast are you following that you're just like listening to their thought processes throughout the day? Who are your influences, and who are your friends? Like, who are your people? They can be seamstresses, or they can also be like friends at home, like your in real life friends that have nothing to do with work. But how do they make you feel? Like, did they lift you up? Do they encourage you? Are they actively helping you be better? Do they talk about ideas, or do they talk about people? I think that's an Eleanor Roosevelt quote about spending time with people who talk more about ideas than they do about other people, right? Consider that, like, who's in your ear, and that is going to be affecting you more than you are giving them credit for, I promise you. And so when you intentionally spend time with people who lift you up, who lift others up, who help you pursue those dreams and who want to encourage you in those dreams, those are the people that you want to stick around with, because they're going to influence your business more than you think that they will. And that is going to help you emotionally level up probably more than the other things that I was talking about, because those relationships, that's what pours into you, right? And so when you think about like your mind, your heart is like this sponge, and what we let pour into our hearts and in our minds, what we absorb, like we're choosing to absorb something every time we scroll on social media, or like every time we just pour our whole selves into our business, and we're just like a sponge absorbing the stress and like the deadlines or whatever. And the same thing with those relationships. Like when we're a sponge, we're absorbing whatever it is that they're talking about, what they're stressing about, what they want to fixate on. Do they help you let go of situations, or do they want to like stir the pot and like, yeah, 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 let's like get petty with this, right? So think about people in your life and choose carefully, because that is going to help. That's significantly going to impact how you experience 2025, especially emotionally, because we know that with our jobs, there's stress involved, and there's scenarios that can go one way or the other depending on how we respond. And we're going to respond based on what's already like in our hearts, what we're already training ourselves to think about certain situations, and how we're trained to view people. I don't know. It's something that we shouldn't just take lightly, of what we're letting in our lives. So I know this is kind of like heavy for like a sewing podcast, but really consider like, who are your people? And I know like I have some friends who we're growing together, right? I have like my sewing friends, and they totally get me. If I have like a bridal situation, they have my back, they give me advice, whatever. And then I have, my friends here in Olympia. They know that my goal is to think beyond work. And so they're going to help me with that and pull me out of it. And then I have my music friends that encourage me in other ways. I just have different groups of influences in my life in different areas, but I really want to be selective of like what voices I'm letting in my head because I know they're going to affect me long term. So, with those little tips, of things to reflect on, like what are you letting in your life and how can 2025 just be a fresh new year? It doesn't need to mean like a completely new career or like completely new habits or new routines or whatever. It can just be these really small changes, but they are intentional changes, and you're intentionally setting yourself up for emotional success. So be honest with yourself. I know it's like sometimes it's not super fun to be honest, but these little moments of reflection can have such a long-term effect in our lives and obviously in our businesses too, because we're human beings. So our emotional health is going to affect our business health. So hope this was helpful to you. And if anything resonated, please shoot me a message on Instagram. I'd love to, or you can email me if you're on my email list and you reply to those emails. I do read them, I respond back. And I'd love to hear what you think about this topic in particular because it's a fresh year. So we want to make room for the new things. We want to make sure that we're in a healthy place to be ready to just accept new relationships and new opportunities. And we want to make sure like our mindset is ready for all that growth. So good luck. I'm cheering you on. And here's to up leveling emotionally in 2025.